Boy, we knew they were committed. There was no, they would fight like cats and dogs sometimes, but they were committed. It was never a thought that they would ever leave each other because we were a family and families stay together through the hard times.
What's up, everybody? Back again on Trade Talk. I'm here with my incredible co-host, Mr. Tyler Joe Stratton.
What up, brother? Good to be here once again with the one and only Tre. Let's go.
We're also here with some incredible guests. I love these guests. The first time I ever met them was the first time I ever been to TCS. This family is literally everybody's mom and dad. Like when I say everybody,
Amen.
if you're a part of TCS, your mom and dad is this group of people right here.
Amen.
The Callaways. Can we get a round of applause for these people right here? I love to hear.
And let me speak on behalf of the Callaways, how beautiful it is to see a powerful relational dynamic duo. Because, you know, as a married man myself, it was beautiful to see that we, as you guys know that are familiar with our studio, this is not usually the shot that we have. And what did you say? That you two are never that far away from each other.
I said he's sitting too far away.
Sitting too far away. I mean, there are couples out there, man, that are like, too close.
Back on up.
Back on up. We're gonna make it, but back on up. These two are like, honey, come here. You're my team. You're my partner, and that's where it's gonna be a great conversation.
You know what?
With
You onto something right there.
dude. We both onto something,
You onto something right there.
but we about to bring them in onto something too.
Let's talk about it. So he said a very, very, very key thing. You guys are teammates. And I really sat here and thought about it because that's what every man that is growing up in his faith, but not only in his faith, but trying to learn what it means to be a husband for his wife and a wife for his husband or her husband,
Yes.
right, is being a teammate. So were you guys always this strong of a team or was it a lot of hard work?
We fought to be this hard of a team.
Oof.
As we dated, our dating life, well, I'll say if you would have seen us engaged, you would have said, why in the heck are they getting married? Because we fought through all of the hard stuff before we got married.
Wow.
Because it was talking about the important things of life. What do we want our kids to believe? What do we want our daughter to wear? What do we want? We didn't even know if we were going to have a daughter or sons or whatever, but we fought about those important issues so that we knew once we got married, the decisions were made. And that's pretty much how we function through life, is that we fight through the battles before we get there, because then it's not a decision. You already know what you're going to do, and you don't have to panic and think about the answers that you make and what you're going to do. So.
As many decisions you can make ahead of time, it's really important. So that's the main thing I'll add to that. But we had, in the 40 years, almost 41 now, years we've been married,
Congratulations.
we've had, thank you.
Seriously, congratulations. That's huge.
We've had 2 years that were really difficult. And one was about at year 6, 5 to 6, and one was just recently, 2 years ago. In each of those times, the key to them ending was us staying. Mentally, our hearts, our physiology.
Yes.
We walk back in. So I remember a quote we had from back year 6. When, like, we didn't like each other. But divorce is not, it's not a word. It's
Amen.
not part
I love
of our
that.
relationship. So what we did is she was home when I came home every day after work, and she was still there. That's how we got through that. Roughly 9 months into that hard time, now she had anemia and other thing. They had a bunch of kids, and there was a lot to do. So she
Yeah.
was exhausted. I was exhausted. Young business, terrible at business back then. But she was there, and I kept coming home. Didn't want to.
I didn't want him there,
She didn't want him there. She didn't want me there.
My gosh.
But there was no epiphany. There was no moment. There was no counseling. There was no advice that made it better. It just got better because we stayed.
You didn't run away.
Yeah, it was a
boy.
commitment to each other that, I mean, he said divorce was not an option, but we actually had a conversation early on to say divorce is not a word in our marriage, ever. And it wasn't.
That's
It was a
Definition.
that was the decision beforehand, that we decided beforehand divorce isn't an option in our marriage at all. So we just didn't even go there.
Ooh, can I say something real quick, Tyler? I wanted to say this because
please.
right before I came in here, right, I asked Miss Callaway, I said, are you okay with doing the podcast, right? Or do you want your husband? She looked at me and said, I'm a wife and a mother. Aye, Captain. I'm going to go get him right now.
Salute, brother.
I'm going to get him right now.
I mean,
And that is huge, bro. You don't, to be honest with you, especially in our generation, we don't hear that.
wait.
We don't. Like I'm just
No.
being very honest, and I could be as honest as I possibly can. I unfortunately I never had that in my family. Like I don't know what positive relationships look like, and when you get a chance to see positive relationships, and not only positive relationships, hard fought for relationships.
Yeah.
Because like giving up is easy these days. It's
Too
like
easy.
it's literally like the bio of what our generation is good at. Is giving up and quitting. But to see a relationship where they were like, no, it's nice right now. But we had to fight tooth and nail like Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, man.
So that's very inspirational. So I want to say thank you for inspiring not only me, but you're going to inspire a lot of other people, and also a young married man who's sitting next to you to also stay in that marriage, even though that marriage is hard, or stay fighting when it's hard to fight, man. That's helping me a lot through a tough situation as I currently go through. So like, thank you guys. I wanted to say that before we get into the next question.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be spoken there as committed it's hard to be like till death do you part. We don't see that anymore, right? We don't. I mean, my wife and I said I do until death do us part, right? Like now, ideally, to get there is one thing, but what you guys are saying is like, I gave too much to give up. You guys are like, I gave too much. I've committed my heart to you. You are my soulmate under God, and I'm not going anywhere. And it's that reassurance, and that's really all you need sometimes. Like, although it's beautiful to hear like they didn't like each other. Well, how do you stay together when you don't like each other, right? Like, can you talk about? I mean, I'm selfishly wanting to know. Like, fortunately, in the 7 years that I've been with my wife, like, there hasn't come a time where she's my everything, like my best friend. Like I want her everywhere I am. Like that's the core of my love for her, and vice versa. But what would you tell any one of us guys in here that are married and wanting to be like, what advice do you give to the younger generation on how does a man or a woman stick through the times where you're like, I don't love them anymore? Because it sounds like there was a time where it's like,
You had to fall back
not
in
liking
love.
them, that means you're not really in love with them. That means, like, what advice do you give? Like, I don't even know. I'm fearful that might come. I'm like, can I get through it?
How long do we have?
Dude, I'm in it for good. I told my wife, I'm going to be home late, honey. We got the
And I
Callaways
canceled
coming
practice. I canceled practice, so it's over with. You take as long as you need.
you tell me, what advice do you got for a young married couple?
You mentioned the word love a couple of times in that sentence. And the interesting thing is in the Greek, Hebrew, maybe even, there's like 5 different types of love.
Yes.
In English, there's 1. So perhaps what you were saying is love the feeling, perhaps. It was more than that, I think, because you do love your wife. You want her with you.
Yeah.
But you got to realize that love, the kind of love we're talking about, is a choice. Not only did we work through the hard stuff, we made the commitment. That's a type of love in Greek, is the commitment type of love. Then it's the hard type of love, and then it's the service type of love. And so those 5 kinds of love,
Wow.
they all need to exist. Now in English, we get it a little bit wrong because it's not big enough. It's just not big enough.
And
So, you've heard the analogy before that if you want to have a better attitude, then lift your chin, get your eyes up to other eye level, maybe even look at the trees.
yeah.
And then over time, and not even a long time typically, then your attitude will come up if you change your physiology, right?
Yes.
So
Power.
that's what I'm talking about. Is you have to change your physiology. It starts with your mindset. You have to make a decision to raise your eyes,
Yeah.
to get to that better attitude. Well, it's the same with love.
Wow.
So you make the commitment way back there. That's one kind of love, and then moving forward in that hard moment, you come home when you don't want to. You come home when you don't like her. You come home when she doesn't like you.
Right.
That's yucky.
Yeah. Not
There's
fun.
other words I could use.
Yeah.
That's yucky.
Right.
Right? It's walking through the muck. And that physiological decision, put that step and the next step and the next step. And all of a sudden, 9 months later, the attitude started changing. There was no epiphany. It just got there.
There's a Clint Black song that I always refer to. It's one of my favorite songs. But the words in it is love is not something that we feel, it's something that we do. And that's what the younger generation doesn't always comprehend. It's not that we always feel the most positive and lovey-dovey towards each other, but we still do the things we do because we choose to do them, even when we don't feel that way.
Wow.
And that's what your generation is about, truly, is choices, but they're leaving their choices off. They're limiting their thinking process to think, oh, well, if it doesn't make me feel this way, then I don't have any other choice.
Okay, let me give you an example.
Hit me with
So
it.
she says in bed, do you hear that noise? Ever happened to you?
Well, let me see. How many hours ago was that? Let me see. Wait a minute.
Did you hear that noise? And you're like,
It's a washing
pretty
machine.
much walked the whole house before I went to bed. We're out in the country. There's nothing going on.
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm going through my mind in this split second time. Okay. But she's not going to sleep
Until you get your butt up.
until I get my butt up, throw them out of anger, throw
Yeah.
the covers back, and
Yeah.
get up and check on what that noise was.
Love.
It's love.
Gosh.
I don't want to.
But I'm going
But in that moment,
Yeah.
it's not about me because I need to love her, right?
Yeah.
But it's about me because I ain't sleeping because she ain't sleeping. Honestly,
True.
we need to see the commitment to our spouses and the commitment to the things we don't, our jobs, the things we don't love, because it's good for us too. It's good for us.
Yeah.
You know, the 10 Commandments,
Speak them. I get it.
I'm not going to list them all,
Yeah.
but the point is the 10 Commandments are all good for the recipient.
Yes.
You do those things, you will prosper. You will prosper.
Gosh. I hear you and coming in from my relationship, I'm like, I'm very grateful because I didn't grow up in a home where it was stable, far from it, right? And that's Tre and I has a
That's where we agree.
very similar story there,
We
bro.
agree.
Yeah, and that's why God binds us together as brothers. We have that similar story and we build off of one another. How the thing is though, talk about how important the little things are in your marriage or just as a couple, because it's like, I've realized that if I continue to do the little things, everything else seems to be taking care of itself. Like in my personal marriage, like the little things of, you're right. There's not times that I want to scratch her back before bed because I'm tired. But like if she's asking me of it, I should probably do it. Okay. Not only that, but that's what she wants to show that I love and care and support and put her to sleep as well. Right. There's a lot of little things that a lot of people forget to do in the journey of their relationship, however long, hopefully, till the very end. But can you talk a little bit about, from your experience, the importance of showing up for one another in the littlest ways, and how that has strengthened your marriage? Because that's something I'm learning now, and I would like to hear from people like yourself.
There's a quote that we actually write on wedding cards that says, remember to always treat your wife like a queen, because that will always make you the king. And if you don't, it just makes you the court jester.
You know what? If you want to drop the mic, we can get up. We can call that raps right now. If you want to, we could do that right now. You know what I love about you too? Every single time before you respond, you look at each other. That is crazy.
That's
me.
respect, man. That's
like,
love.
You gotta understand, like that. It's foreign to me, and I'm not saying I ain't have love in my life. I had a lot of love from my mother, from my father, just not in the same realm. But I can tell one thing's for sure, two things for certain. You guys have went through a lot of adversity to get where you're at right now, and you survived it. And I know parts of your story, not all those parts of the story. I ain't gonna act like I know all that, but I do know some, right? And to still love through that, that's inspirational. That's hard. That is hard, right? And not only did you love through it, I guarantee there was a point of time, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Callaway, there was a point of time where not only could he not look at you and you couldn't look at him, y'all couldn't look at yourselves in the mirror.
Oh.
And y'all love through that anyway.
It's embarrassing to not have the picture of what you thought the ideal was. You know, you have an expectation. We all live in those. We live with those. We shouldn't. They're dangerous, but we have them. And it's embarrassing. It was embarrassing to me to come home to a wife that didn't like me because it didn't fit the picture of what it should be, but what I should be. So I'm the leader of the home. That's the way God made it, which means I'm ultimately responsible before him. I'm going to walk in front of him someday. Well, that's huge. Like, that's another thing your generation doesn't hear. Now, that's not to put her down. That actually gives her freedom, which I hope she speaks about.
Amen.
It gives her complete liberty because she's covered.
She's
She
safe.
doesn't have to worry about whatever's my responsibility, whatever we've agreed.
Yeah,
because we're a team. It's mine. It's mine. 100% mine. Then she doesn't have to own it. She doesn't have to carry it anymore. So, but I'm walking before God someday and gonna answer for how good a husband I was. So it in the times that were hard, the times that I know I wasn't what I should have been, those were embarrassing. But then back to that physiology, but it didn't matter. The commitment was this. I got to go back in the house every day. I got to go be the husband. I got to go be the dad, right? Even though I was inadequate. I was inadequate in my own eyes. So you said looking in the mirror, that was hard. I was inadequate. Yet I had to go be it the best I could be, which I knew wasn't enough. But in those times when we got through those times, the adequacy then is built somewhat by the other. Now, not completely, because that's still my own to own. But when we are connecting well, my adequacy does feel more full. You know, then I have some actually to give to others. It overflows, and I can give the right stuff to others.
You know what? That is so beautiful, man. And every time I listen to you guys talk, the first time I met you guys, you made me feel at home, and I never knew who y'all were. Like, you got to imagine, I'm a black kid from the inner city. So first things first, I was like, yo, they're this nice to me? For what? Like, what you trying to get at? What you need from me? And I realized that's just who you are as people. Like, that's from the core of your essence. It comes from God, and you could tell it comes from God because you choose to be good. You choose to be loving. You choose to care. So now it leads into my next question. You guys have incredible children, of course, right? Beautiful children, some grandchildren here and there. You guys have probably the biggest Thanksgiving that anybody can think of. But let's talk about that for a second. I know that's not always easy, and I know it always hasn't been easy. But you said all of them are now entrepreneurs, correct? Majority. A high majority, right? So let's talk about that. Tell me a little bit about that, your business as well, because we got to know who you are from a contracting sense. We are talking about contractor stuff and trades, so we got to talk about that. But let's talk about that. Let's talk about the kids. Let's talk about the business.
I'd like to hear your perspective.
Well, I will talk about the kids. This necklace I have is over 30 years old, and it's not my grandkids, it's my kids, because that's my first responsibility, is my kids. And so we have 6 boys and 1 girl, and they're all a part of our business in some way, shape, or form, and we're a part of theirs. In fact, I took 2 phone calls today from a couple of the boys saying, "Mom, what do I do? How do I do this?" And they grew up, well, I grew up in a self-employed family, so I've never known anything different.
Right.
So to me, it's just normal to have an entrepreneur husband, that this is just what we do together. And my mom was the epitome of a submitting female. My dad went out and earned a living, and mom stayed home and took care of us and did everything with us. And so, and you know what? They didn't have the best personal relationship that we could see, that the kids could see, but boy, we knew they were committed. There was they would fight like cats and dogs sometimes, but they were committed. It was never a thought that they would ever leave each other, because we were a family, and families stay together through the hard times. And that's what our kids see too, is that once we meet you, as you know, Tre, once we meet you, you're part of my family.
100%.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you are not related, that you live across the country. That's what we want people to know and feel, because as I've told others, is that if you were important enough to be created by God, you're important enough for me to care for. And that's what I want people to know, because I don't want anyone that I ever meet not to experience some aspect of God's love.
Thank you.
Wow.
That's huge.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow. That's why you
I
married
think
her?
a lot of
I get it. I get it. I
like-
see it in your eyes.
I really believe that a lot of, including myself, need to hear that and be okay with feeling loved by others, dude. Like you're part. Don't tell me that you're adopted. You know what I mean? You got family, bro.
You feel me?
You know, and it's like the type of love that you two radiate and are open to give away to others is the type of love that changes this world.
Oh,
Yeah.
Because it's this conversation behind this mic of being able to be, you know how cool it is to be able to talk to people that are my parents' age that are sitting here confidently, courageously, to be able to speak behind a mic, sitting on a camera, to overcome the internal battles or whatever battles, to be able to just speak to, I mean, the future.
Come on.
Like not just us, but how many people tune into Trade Talk, into the Brian Hess show, and thank you for gifting us your love, because you've loved God and God loves you, and you're so right. I mean, I've just felt obligated to say thank you, because that is a love every boy and girl within us need for us to continue to do the work for God, to glorify Him. But it's hard when we don't feel like we're the mess up, because we grew up where everything is messed up.
come on.
And that's all that we see.
Yeah, let me just say this. Inner city? So what?
So what?
You got a new city now, man.
Amen, dude.
Amen. I love that.
Salute, brother.
I love that.
We got to talk about business, dude.
Yeah, we got to talk about the business. We
I
definitely
mean,
gotta talk
this
about
is the heart of the company.
Literally.
The heart of the company.
Literally.
Like, this is what's so cool. This is why we love bringing people on, because we try to extract the goodness, because it's like when you join when you're with a company and you partner up with a company, you partner up with a team. You're not only partnering up with a team, partnering up with a family.
Come on.
And so, like, you guys have radiated your love, not through just your essence of being, through your physiology and through your mind and heart, but, you know, also in business of offering a service. And every time that I've worked with K&L, it's been an excellent experience personally. And I say that not because you guys are friends, it's because it's been the truth.
Ooh.
And I feel like it's a part of a family and part of one team. We're all together. We're all in this together. We're not going to give up on each other. If there's a problem, guess what? The Callaways, K&L, we figure it out. One team, TPG, we figure it out. So speak on behalf of the company that you guys ultimately get to beautifully run together, and the services that you offer, and the lessons you've learned in the plethora of years that you
Hold on,
guys have
Ty.
been running it.
Hold on, because there's something that you don't know that I know
Tell me about
them
it.
that I love about their company.
Hit me
is
with
they
it,
believe
bro.
in second chances. And I don't know if y'all know this, but there's a lot of people that are within their company that literally are going to their company looking for just that, a second chance. Can you please tell this world exactly what I'm talking about?
Well, our oldest son is a recovering addict. He was married for years, got a divorce, and in the midst of that divorce ended up on a bad path. And we had to walk that path of recovery with him. And it's not easy. We discovered that our court system is not made for success for anyone who's stuck in it. And he lost his license and on probation and all these things. And literally, if you don't have someone behind you to walk alongside you and say, it's going to be okay, I'll help you, don't worry about it. I mean, you show up to court and they're like, oh, you have to do this counseling. And oh, by the way, it's $150 and you have to pay it today. Like, you can't do that. Or you get more days and things added onto your sentence. And it was very evident to us after walking through it that a lot of people don't have someone to stand behind them and say, it's okay. I mean, what other employers are going to say, get a phone call from their PO.
Right.
Oh, you have to go do a UA today. And you call in and say, oh, I have to miss work. And they're like, oh, well, see you, don't bother coming in. And that's kind of a common thing of
Excuse me.
people aren't forgiving of life that happens.
Right.
You know what? Yes, we have a business. Yes, we want profit, but we want your life to be better and successful. It's not just about money. And that is something that we are very solid on, is that sure, we want profit, but what we want more is for your life to be better. We don't want just our life to be better, because we could do that by ourselves.
Right.
But we want everybody to be the profitable ones and not just us.
Our company motto is transforming lives one shovel at a time.
Oh, that's
I like
nice.
that. I like that. Make that into a shirt. I'll buy one tomorrow.
Yeah, literally.
We have
Some
some
over
right
there.
over there.
Okay, I'll go grab mine.
Let's go, dude.
Yes, and we live that. We live that. I mean, we obviously narrowed our core values down to 5 particular core values that are a little more general, and yet we're always referring to them, always talking about them. But the transforming lives is something that we take seriously. We have a lot of conversations, hard and easy.
And Keith Jr. came up with that.
Yeah, he
I mean,
came
it
up
was
with
it was a day business meeting, but he really came up with that, and it is the heart and soul of who we are. Is that the transforming lives is because that's what we want to do for everyone that we meet. And the one shovel at a time it has that double meaning. It's, yes, we're changing customers' lives by the things that we do, but we're also changing our employees' lives by helping them shovel the crap out of their lives, because
Wow.
everybody has it. And they need someone solid to stand behind them and say, it's okay, we all struggle, we all make
A
mistakes.
shovel with them.
Yeah, and sometimes
Oh.
pick it up and shovel with them.
Shovel with them.
Wow.
That's not what many people are willing to do.
Nah, pretty much not.
They see your stuff and they're like, I'm out.
You feel me?
It's like, here, nah, your family. I'm
You know
gonna
what they
shovel it
do?
with you, like, because I don't want my wife to suffer.
Come on.
You
Talk
know,
to me.
and it's like, you guys. First thing, if you don't mind me dropping.
Go ahead, drop it.
Okay, so a part of my mission here with Honey I'm Home is helping men and couples, helping men lead better homes. Right? Like, what's it mean to be a man inside of a home? You know, I don't know. I've been reading about, reading the Bible, John Maxwell's leadership book, Honey I'm Home. I definitely want you guys to be on that podcast as well, because it's strictly helping couples dominate in their home, meaning how to build a loving home. What's the responsibility of a man? What's the responsibility of a wife and a woman? And really restructuring that, because that's lost art now. It's not there anymore. And that hurts me, because I don't want to fail. Money is obsolete compared to my marriage with my wife and my relationship with God. Everything else is obsolete.
Come on.
And I would love to hear from your perspective. I mean, you guys have changed, just even sitting close to each other. I think about my wife and I, there's block time for each other. But the importance of you guys sitting next to each other, I took that away, and I'm like, tonight, because of your act, I'm sitting on the love seat with my wife.
Come on.
Not 3 feet away from her on the other couch because I'm more comfortable that way. It's like, no, that's my queen,
Come on.
and I'm her king, and I'm her man, and I'm gonna make sure that she's protected and cared for. And so I'm not ending it yet, but I'm saying thank you for just in your actions. You guys are changing my life currently. You're changing the future of my
100%.
marriage. Not saying it was in a bad place, because it's not, but it's helping me to tap into more love. It's helping me to want to walk with her, hold her, be with, like, I miss her. just being around you two, because I know the love that you guys have. Now, you guys have it a lot longer than we have, but it's the same love. It's from God. It's real. The essence is there. What I see in you two, I'm grateful that I get to see it in my own marriage, and it makes me miss her. Just so you guys show me sitting here, Tre.
Right. Talk to me.
Makes me miss her. So you guys are changing lives. I don't know how many times you've been told that, but that's what I'm feeling called right now to tell you, that you are changing my life and my marriage based upon how you're showing up in your marriage today. And talk a little bit about, if you don't mind me selfishly asking,
run it.
And this is going to be running into Honey, I'm Home eventually.
It's all right,
We might be just running it now, but no, I'm just kidding. Can you help me and the audience understand women's perspective and the man's perspective, what it means to be a man in your home? I know that's a loaded question, but it's like something
Not loaded.
perfect, because I would love to know, how am I as a husband supposed to be inside my home, and how is a wife supposed to be to her husband inside her home?
I'm definitely interested. I'm sitting back. I'm not even going to say nothing. I'm just going to kick my feet up and listen.
It's something that I'm learning myself, and I think that experience is key, and knowledge and the walk with God. And I won't be asking everybody this, because I got to know that they're godly, because if they're not, perspective is a little different. So please, if you don't mind sharing that with us, what's it mean to be a man in a home, or a husband in a home, and what's it mean to be a wife and a woman in a home? How are we to show up?
I have 3 jobs. I'm a simple man. I need to boil everything down to no more than 3 points.
I love that. I'm the same way. That makes me happy.
I'm a simple man. My job is provider, protector, and lover. Manager of the love, the 5 kinds of love. In my
Protector,
home.
provider, and lover.
Yes. Now, you isolate those things out, that might sound to some like I'm saying, well, where does she fit in that whole thing? Well, I'm responsible to God for those things. But everybody that has a job and manages other people realizes they don't do it. They don't do a lot of it. They don't do all of it. But they're responsible. If they're accountable for it, they're responsible for it. I'm responsible for the provision of my home. I'm responsible for it. Now, if I was, heaven forbid, if I was a stay-at-home dad, I wouldn't have done well there. That's why I said heaven forbid.
I know for a fact I wouldn't.
And she, she was the one with the great job. Then I would still be responsible for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha.
For providing for the family and making sure that the money, went as far as it needed to go, no matter what. But that was my job. Now we played, a little older. Okay, we had the role. I went to work. She stayed home.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how we worked it out.
Love it.
Not everybody needs to do it like we did it, and that's fine.
Yeah.
You can have 2 jobs, but you got to realize God said provide. He said that. Those are not my words. Be mad at me if you want. I don't care. He's got big shoulders. Be mad at him. It's his words. You're the protector. 100% the protector.
Come on, that's not even a question.
You're responsible for it. You're responsible for it. So you get up when that stupid noise happens that maybe didn't happen actually.
Right.
And you get up and you go check it.
Yep.
Right? Whatever it is. But you're the protector of her emotions, especially against you. In particular against you, the emotional damage you might do. And I've done some. That's on me. The protector of kid against kid.
Yeah, that's huge.
Kid against bullies. Wife against bullies. I'm the protector. I am a fun-loving guy. I'm as meek and mild. I just love fun.
Yeah.
And I'm cool with all that. You mess with my people.
Talk that talk.
Tre's about to wind up.
Hey, don't get me started. I'm ready to go with you. Tell me when.
You mess with my people, then you better watch out.
That's love.
That's
man.
love, boy, right there. That's real love.
I mean, you can see it in his eyes that's love.
he got
Like,
me ready to go
that's
punch him.
that's
son.
what I like to call like the kind warrior.
You know what I mean?
The lover that is absolutely ready to die for his family.
You know, I think we both have that switch.
Yeah, dude.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm a nice guy. You guys see me, you're like, oh, he's such a great kid, probably.
But if you
But if you push me, listen,
push my family around,
man, it's not even going to be in question. You might as well call the police now.
salute.
Because, like, I'm not going
They're going to need them.
They're going to need them. Like, because I'm not about my family, and this is something that I stand behind, about the people who I consider family.
Yes, sir.
And the people that I walk with in faith as well.
Yes, sir.
Because that's still my family. Be careful on how you treat them. Because I'm very nice. I will always give you respect. But how you treat my family will let me know how I must treat you. So be careful.
That is
Be
true.
very careful. And that's what I love. See that right there, that shows me a true man. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. That's
That
it.
shows me a true man. You don't gotta say much else to me. Like, to be honest with
Okay,
you.
but let me finish.
Hit us.
The love is intentional and it's sensitive and it does feel. There's a real man. If he's only protector and only provider,
Not a real one.
that is not enough.
It's not a
It's
real
not
one.
enough.
So you're saying lead with love is what you're trying to tell the world.
Lead with all three.
Lead with all three.
God says all three.
Come on, talk to me.
That's not my words, it's his.
Talk to me.
I'll be mad at him if I need to be.
Yep.
Not him.
Yeah, so you have to love. You have to love.
That's
you have
a beautiful-
To manage the active love, the servant love, the past commitment love, all those 5 kinds, and the emotional, the feeling love. You have to manage all of those. You're responsible to God to do it.
Amen.
You have to do it.
Protect,
And
provide, and
provide and
love.
protect. Yeah.
I need you to send that to me. I'm gonna keep that in my notes because I'm still learning, man. I ain't gonna lie. This kid right here, Mr. Callaway, that one right there, he's taught me a lot about love, and I thought I'm stubborn. Let me just get this across right now. I'm very, very stubborn, and I try not to be because God asks us not to be, but it's very, very hard for me. So, like, to learn on how to love when my whole life I've been told, like, this is the way that you should do things, you gotta work hard on yourself to get to where you wanna go. And to now have pictures of what that looks like, right? To actually have an image of what those things look like. Thank you for making it a little bit easier on me. And I guarantee you've made it a lot easier on a lot of people who are gonna watch this. But
Oh,
now,
this is huge.
So the buzzword nowadays is servant leadership.
Yeah.
That does come fairly close to encapsulating what needs to be done at home.
Servant leadership, heart-driven leader. Yeah.
So
That's
I
your
wanna make
thing.
Sure and put a capstone on it before I hear what she says.
Of course. No, it's beautiful. Thank you for sharing your perspective.
About her main jobs.
Yeah, the responsibility of
Here
the
we go.
wife in the home.
here we go, the queen of the
You
team.
tell us how do you show up as a wife, as a mother, as an owner? What's your
Grandmother.
responsibility in a home?
You know, the one heartfelt thing I have, and I can't remember what I've been trying to think about what you said, but it's sorry, it's on my little soapbox here. So I'm on my soapbox. Is that as a female, we are told to love our husbands and
Yes.
to submit to them. And this generation, these days,
Yep.
submit is
Not a kind
swear
word.
Like, how can you use that word? They're missing the parts that, to me, submission is freedom. He is 100% responsible in the eyes of God for his family. I have the freedom to be me, as long as I'm not doing something that is dishonoring to God. But he's the one who has to account to God for it. And so my submission, I am 100% free. I can sit under the protection of my spouse who leads me well. He's a great person who pursues me and studies my likes and my dislikes. He knows me better than myself half the time. But he is always a student of me. And because of that, I can freely submit to him and know that he's going to protect me and take care of me and look out for the best for me. So that is one thing that it breaks my heart to see the younger generation think that submission is a bad word because it's freedom. It is 100% freedom, and that's how I've always operated. That's why there's a reason God puts a hierarchy. Just like when you talk about I'll go spiritual here a minute.
Yeah, please do.
The Trinity.
Always.
Yes, please
God
do.
the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. There's a hierarchy there.
Come on.
Even though they're one and the same, there's still a hierarchy.
Mm.
And that's how he created marriage to be, is that he is the man of our house, the protector, the provider, and he created female to be a helpmate.
Mm.
Helpmate isn't a bad position. It doesn't mean that you're some
Doormat.
yeah.
be
It doesn't
walked
mean that
on.
you're there to be walked on and be told to follow orders and all those kind of things. It means that you're helping success. You're helping to come alongside and say, I want the best for you in every situation. And
That support.
it's a sad thing that I've watched in generations, and I feel like one of those old people now.
No, this is
that
really good.
that it's a sad thing to see that women these days, because of women's rights and women's liberation, and they're taking away the freedom that they have to be protected. That I don't have to be everything for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that I can't provide for myself or that I can't go check for that noise. I don't want to. I want him to do it.
Come on.
And so I can sit back and sit
Yeah.
in that freedom. And it's not that I mean, for a long time, I had a really good job,
Yeah.
a very well-paying job before we had kids, all of a year. But there's freedom in that.
Yeah.
And the freedom in that, and when I can freely submit to him, then I can also freely love him.
Mm.
And there is something missing in the message to females these days, that the message is missing, that if you choose not to be this strong female, that you're unimportant, that you're not valued.
Mm.
And you are. You're missing the boat. You're only getting half of a picture instead of the full picture. And that's the thing that makes me sad. And even in business, I mean, the truth is, I'm the one who owns the business, but he makes all the decisions.
Wow.
And
We
he's-
just traded it, woman owned.
Beautiful.
She's also Native Indian, so there's some advantages for her. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but we.
You know what I love about you, Mr. Callaway, though? She's talking about submitting, right? But like, what people forget is when a woman submits, so does a man. You understand? Like, you get over your ego for your woman. You get over the things that you naturally, as a man, tells you, hey, no, go be manly. But instead, you decide, nah, the choice, right? We talk about those choices of love. I listen. I'm good at listening, I promise. The choice of love, right? Choice to listen, choice to submit. That's a beautiful thing, man. Because there's not too many people, not too many men who can comfortably say that I'm willing to submit to my woman, right? Because we always see it, right? A woman may submit to a man, but for a man to submit to a woman, you have to really work on that because she's giving you what you're asking for every single time. But are you willing to submit back to her? And you have every single time. Even when you said it was ugly, I ain't say you was always good at it. I ain't say that, but I said with time comes wisdom.
Well, it's her household.
Come on now.
It's her household. As weird as that sounds in the world we live in now. It's not my castle. I'm king because she's queen.
There would be no king without the queen.
Well, if you looked at our phones,
Yeah.
I could pull my phone out and show you that his name, it's not some pet name, it's my king. And in his phone, I'm my queen. And our house phone, which we still have a landline, is our castle.
That's a great
I'm still in
perspective.
that. I'm still in it. I'm
I
gonna
know.
put it
I
in
got
the
wife
list.
in mind with a emoji, but
So you're right. I do submit to. I mean, we've divided some roles. We have.
Yep.
And actually, every relationship does to some degree,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
It doesn't matter if they're just tactical roles.
Of course.
We divide roles. Ours are more traditional.
Yeah.
But I walk in the home, I'll take my shoes off,
Yep.
try to keep the counters clean,
Right.
and put the toilet seat down.
That's important.
Things that matter, right, to her.
Yep.
Because it's her house. I got her house for her. I
Yeah.
provided it. It's not mine. I got it for her.
Oh, that's a
Because
perspective.
if we could live on the street, I ain't gonna lie. Like
I
men,
can-
we
I
just
can- I can
you
live
put
in
us
a
in the
box,
woods,
man.
You put us in the woods, we cool.
Yeah,
Right? It don't matter,
This is
man.
her house, baby.
Like, you wanted this, all right. If you want me to go sleep on the street, I'll figure it out. And that's a beautiful thing,
Yes.
Mr. Callaway. I can't lie. That's beautiful. And that's the one thing I love to say about women. I had a strong mom, you know what I mean? A very strong mom. And I consider all women not only the rib cage that God talks about, but the backbone, right? They're what holds a man up, because a man can handle the world if a woman's behind him, you know? And that's one thing that I find more beautiful than anything. Best thing about this is the fact that we all play chess at some point in time, right? Like chess is a very great game. But what you notice about in chess, right, the king only moves one space at a time. But the most powerful on the chessboard is who?
Queen.
The queen. Why is that, right? And here's the thing. If
She
the
owns the
queen,
board.
come on now. Now, if the queen, though, she goes out there and gets herself hurt by doing things that she shouldn't be doing or moving too fast in too many places, right? What does that leave the king? Vulnerable.
True.
So when a king loses his queen, he's bound to lay down. So you telling me the only way I gotta hurt you is by getting to her? Oh, I'll find a way, right? So when you have a strong woman who's in charge of the household, in charge of the board, right? She plays it smart. Your queen's not gonna do anything to put the king at risk because the king has to handle everything else.
Okay,
Strong
so
backbone.
who's the one celestially that knows that? The devil.
He tries to get
The
it.
devil knows that. So he's taken femininity out of the world to destroy the men. And now there's no masculinity.
Come on.
I see it, dude.
Now let's talk. I like this one. Go ahead, Tyler.
No, I mean, I see it daily, man. And that's why I open up the question, like, what does it mean to be a man? Because we need that. It's not tradition. It's the right way. I'm not here to say that the way that you guys are doing, it should not be labeled as tradition in my eyes. It's labeled the proper way. Like, I understand that some people can't do, things that are, maybe sometimes you do need a dual income, but don't forget, like, what my wife submits and loves, like you were saying. Like, yeah, she has a job, but once again, that's not the goal. The goal is for her to raise our kids, to be a part of our home where she's the essence. Without her, it is no longer the home. And so, like, for me to be able to hold this conversation with you both, it just edifies the truth that I believe that my relationship's on a good path, because I want her to submit with freedom. I want her to be, plan out your day, honey. Because I said this to you guys the other day. I said, my wife got to stay at home and, have a couple days off. And she's like, we have a puppy, and, we're if God blesses us with a kid, in the future, that's going to be a beautiful blessing. But right now she's like, oh, dad has to go to work today to Luna, which is our puppy, and, fun. But I said, no, I get to go to work to provide for my family and take care of you guys. Like, I am so grateful that I get to be a provider like you're talking about, because I would rather her just have the freedom to just be whatever you want to be today. If you want to lay around and have a good day, whatever your day looks, I want that to be the freedom there. And I appreciate you guys talking about that truth, the mask, because unfortunately we're losing it. We're currently losing it. And it's this conversation. And I believe God has blessed me with, and it's not about the numbers, but with over 1 million people per month coming to my channel, and over 140,000 people subscribed and followed, and
Still growing
every day. This is the message that the world needs to hear, and this is why Happy Heart Academy exists. This is why Honey I Am Home exists. This is why Trade Talk exists, because the world needs to know exactly the Callaway story, because it's this very story that's going to transform homes, saves marriages, and change the generation, because we're not heading in a good direction, and it's people that like you two power couple, that it's changing the Stratton household, because I understand the responsibility of what it means to be a man. And I'm so grateful that we get to hold this conversation today, because my wife and I are going to sit down and watch this together, because it's an example. We don't have examples anymore. People walk away too fast.
I think one thing that we had a conversation, gosh, it was years ago, and he was talking about it's hard. I mean, it was a hard conversation, that it's hard to go out there and provide. And
What I said is that the world is mean. She said, why aren't you talking to me? It's like, because they're mean. I don't need that here. I'm not going to bring that to you. It's mean out there. No loyalty. People are nasty.
True.
I don't want it in my house.
I'm not bringing it home.
And one of those things that, a saying that came out of that I've said to him since that point oftentimes, just out of the blue, sometimes I just say, thank you for slaying the dragons.
Slay my demons for me so that I don't have to face them, because I don't want to face them. And I'm glad that I have you here. That is a beautiful, like, good man. Like, thank you for being, I'm
Being
honestly,
a man.
Being a man.
Being a man.
That is the definition
Seriously.
of a man. Like, go out there, slay your dragon for your queen. You've got a castle to protect, buddy.
It's been going since before Christ and after, man. You know what I mean? Slay the dragon. Slay the dragon.
I really would love to, like, hold this conversation for another 2 hours.
I would know,
But I want to be respectful of Tre's time and as well as the Callaways' time. But this doesn't mean that this conversation ends here, because
by
there's a
any means.
lot we got to talk about.
Listen, we're going to keep talking, but at the end of the day, this has been trade talk. And I can say this is not just something that's just about the trade, it's about life, right? And there's things that's missing in life right now for a lot of people, including myself, right? So if you're listening right now, let's talk about this, and let's be very clear. It is okay to be the woman that God says that you are to be. It's okay to be the man that God says that you are to be. Stop running away from your duties. Stop running away from love. It's okay to care. It's okay for it to be difficult, but it's also okay to stand strong. So this has been Trade Talk. I'm Tre Tipton, your host. My co-host, Tyler Joe Stratton, our lovely guest, the Callaways. Thank you so much for not just being great people, but being great lovers. At the end of the day, I'm Tre. This is the group. This is the collective. We love you. Like, share, subscribe, everything in between. You know what to do.